Yeah, I think it would be also helpful to Sarper. Maybe we should talk about experiences of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
what are the bad practices, what are the good practices.
Yeah, please do so. Please do so. I just want to give a reminder. I mean, I have come across that saying of either Reid Hoffman or Mark Zuckerberg, from one of their conversations. It was Mark Zuckerberg, if I remember correctly. He said, "If you are not embarrassed with the first version of your product, you're too late."
Yeah,
So have
that's
you experienced the same product development period in your own startups, or you're a growth manager of a Turkish-based startup called Kolayika, and I think you guys
yes.
are doing a great job there. So
Thank you.
so what was the product development phases in those startups, and where do those products get today? Where are they at the moment? Uh,
Hmm.
what are the key points that a startup founder or product developer needs to pay attention to have the MVP? So 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 one thing is that mindset, having the perfect product without any spot, any flaw, but it is almost impossible. We don't see in any successful startup. So what are the other things? Is it your team? Is it your expertise? What if I don't have any expertise? What if I don't have any product development experience beforehand? So yeah, I mean, we could go with real examples, real life examples you had, and
Yeah.
yeah, you could just tell us about some success stories and some fails if you have, because I have my I could tell you about those failures, but I don't know if you have any, so we
I
could
th-
share those as well.
I think failures are way better than to like. It's better to talk about failures than talking about success, because success is. I mean, you cannot learn much from success. It's just
Yeah,
successful. It's doing well. What failure is a lot of things. Um, so I'll talk about one that was horrible, like a horrible experience in my life. We had. I was quite young. I was 20. Yeah, 20 actually.
no,
We were doing a sports facilities database in Istanbul,
right.
which was like it just was our idea. We were like, oh, we want to play football, but we don't know where, so let's build a database where everybody can find a facility to do whatever sport they want. But we needed to build a perfect product because we were 5 engineers, 5 software developers. We were like, okay, yeah, we are 5 software developers. That's what we do. Let's build an amazing database, amazing search engine, so that you would just type in any sport or any gym equipment you want, and you would, based on your location, you would get all these facilities. But there was no business model, for example.
Yeah,
We didn't think like that's like a very crucial mistake. We didn't think like how we would make money, which is actually uh, the main purpose of a business, to make money. And we developed it for I think around 7 months. It was quite hard times because 5 people working on it all the time, rent of the office, everything else, life expenses. We were like, okay, it's just when we build the product, it will blow up. We will be rich anyways. And we launched it,
yeah.
uh, and we learned it the hard way that there is no such thing as launching your product because there were like 3 customers in the first week.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, yeah, they will come eventually. We
Eh,
were like trying to market it and everything, and there was no one. Like it, I think the maximum it reached was 20 customers, 20 users, and there was no business model, nothing. And we spent actually 7 months building it, and then later on, it was quite funny. Some of people in my team were like, why don't we build an application? Maybe that was the problem. They were like, we should do a mobile application. Maybe people didn't like the websites.
yeah,
And but the main thing, we like, let's analyze the mistakes in this idea. We didn't have an idea. We didn't ideate. We were just like, okay, it will be nice to do this, but we are not doing it for ourselves. We should be doing it for a certain set of customers. What we had to do was, okay, people in Istanbul, ages 22 to 25, they like football. They want to find, you know, 5-a-side pitches to play
Mhm.
football, soccer. Sorry,
Yeah, not for United States. Yeah.
yeah, to play soccer, and uh, so we would be like, it would be easy. We would go out and talk to people these ages in Istanbul playing soccer. We could even go to these 5-a-side pitches and just talk to people afterwards. Like, how did you find here? Like, what would we, which process did you go through? And if they're like, oh yeah, it's so hard to find a 5-a-side pitch.
Mm.
We would, like, obviously they wouldn't tell us that, we would actually like a website. They would just tell us the problem. And then we would be like, okay, yeah, actually, if you provide a solution to solve this, these people would pay.
Mhm.
Or maybe these people wouldn't pay, but they would book through our system and we would get commission.
Right.
So there would be a quite, it works in many countries. And I don't know if there is anything in Turkey now doing this, but it should work. It would work potentially, assumption. Later on, when we realized that we needed to do a lot of development, we should have just stopped and said, let's just put it out there, put a one-pager, do it in one day,
Mhm.
and see if people are interested. Like, let's put it out there, just write, just write a prototype, not even an MVP. One key value statement, book any soccer pitch you want in seconds, key value. One key investment that they would give us, their email address, their phone number, anything. And key reward, what they would get. We would show, I don't know, a mock-up of our system.
Right.
Or like, would just contact them saying like, oh, thank you for signing up. We are building this product and there are these pitches that we are trying to, get on board. If you want anything, just if you have any feedback, just let us know. So then we would get a list of people who are interested in that specific key value proposition and the key reward. And then we could just change in 2 hours, we could just change everything and test it again with like, I don't know, £50, $50. Like, this wouldn't be much to do. And in 2 months, we would learn a lot of things. Startups are a lot about learning rather than doing, because by definition, you are in a market of extreme uncertainty.
Right.
And you need to learn. Like, if you're in a room that is totally dark and you're not seeing anything, you need to learn what is out there before moving. You need to, look out there and understand what's happening. And later on, you're like, okay, yeah, this is the surrounding. Let's move this way. So this should be the case in startups, because you don't know what they want. You don't even know who your customers are. You cannot just go like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna build this awesome product, and people are just gonna buy it because it's awesome. It doesn't work. It used to work in 50s, 60s, because there were really few people building stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there were no websites or anything. You would have to be quite rich to build, I don't know, something hardware like a machinery, and then you would advertise it on TV, which is also a huge barrier, or billboards, which are really expensive. So there will be really few people doing it. So when you open the TV, you'll be like, there are like these 5 companies. Let's buy one of them. These are the options. But today it's not like this. Like, when you search something, I guarantee you will get like 10 of amazing products. It's doing the same thing, doing your need. Unless you're searching very like domain specific problem. In that case, there will be maybe 2, 3, but there will be some. And this way you would have to understand who your actual target customer, like very, very specific, and then build an amazing product for them gradually. Right. Building something small, putting it out there, see what they think, see like how many people sign up, how many people give you feedback, and then build gradually. Just, even if it's possible, I always recommend trying to make revenue when you don't have an actual product, because then you see people are willing to pay. Like, there are stages, whether it solves a problem, whether it's a scalable business model, or like whether the business model works, and whether people pay, like it's a part of a business model. So it might be a problem that people want to get rid of, or it might be a nice to have. It would still be for those people, for the specific customers, but they might not be willing to pay. They might be like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't pay $5 for this, for this. So I think the ultimate test is whether they're buying your product. So you have to sort of see whether they're buying smaller amounts, like smaller, lesser products with smaller amounts, and whether they're actually interested. Like that's a really big problem. So, and if I'm going to talk about a good example of what I've done, actually I wasn't there at the beginning, but at the firm we are at the moment, they were doing an HR management software, which is quite basic. Like there were some called like Bamboo HR in the US. There is Workday in the US, SuccessFactors in Germany. I mean, they're a US company, but they were acquired by SAP. So there were some out there. It wasn't an invention, but they were like, okay, in Turkey, there is this problem because they're not using it. Like there is a huge market who are not using this kind of software. And they went to them and said, why are you not using this software? And they realized the needs that SuccessFactors was too big, or Workday was too big of a deal for them. They needed this smaller deals. They were smaller themselves. They had like 50 employees, 100 employees, which wouldn't make sense to start using all those complicated tools. And they realized, okay, we could actually sell this. And they just went out there, tried to sell it without having a product. And they started developing the product, which was quite basic. Like in the first year, the product was only doing time off.